Varadkar's crushing defeat in the referendum. I'm going to tell you exactly what happened. And this is a classic. What way could I put this? If you're an American, you'll understand this. You have these Democrats that say that they're not racist, but they've got this white guilt, and they say that they're going to vote one way, but they vote the other because they really don't want the world to change. They just want to complain about things. And that's what you've got in Ireland today, except take away well, we do have that thing where you do have the sort of the Irish liberals crying about racism, but realistically, it's apply the same logic to the current referendum that just happened. Varadkar's crushing defeat. So I could imagine, right? Imagine this. You're a woman, right? For all the women that are watching this, you're in the hairdressers, and your hairdresser says, well, what about the upcoming referendum? How are you going to vote? Are you going to get rid of this misogynistic law? Because you're going to have some hairdressers and some people, your nail salons or whatever you're doing with your day to day, or maybe it's in the office. Maybe you're the CEO of a €1 billion company. I don't know, but you're having conversations with your girlfriends, and they're saying, "We need to get rid of this misogynistic law because I've been inhibited all my life from progressing in this terrible misogynistic society." And you're going, "Yes, I agree. Yes, we need to get rid of this terrible constitutional law that inhibits women from growing and becoming just as good as men." And then you walked out of the room, didn't you? You walked out of the room. Now, this is to the women that said they were voting yes. You walked out of the room and you had no intention of voting yes. Because just like the self-loathing white liberals in America, you say you're going to vote one way, but really you want Donald Trump in there. It's the same equivalent to the liberals in America. Whenever they speak to anybody that isn't white, they lower their tone and they speak slower because they think anybody that isn't white is less intelligent than them. And they think that they've had a disadvantage because of their lack of intelligence. Where a person like me, who's just a normal person, and people like you that are watching this are just normal people, we don't change our tone and we speak to people like they're people. Well, these radical feminists in the Republic of Ireland, in Ireland in general, there's a lot of them up here too, guys. They actually don't want change. They want to be protected, but they want the status and the ability to moan. I want to moan. So they'll say to you, for the people that said they were going to vote yes, the vast majority of them went in and voted no, because they still want to be protected under the Constitution. They just wanted the bragging rights to say, well, I fought against this big, bad, misogynistic system. They want the bragging rights to basically go into the nail salons, go into the hairdressers, go into the office, be around their girlfriends and said, well, I voted yes because I'm against misogyny in Ireland. But you didn't really do that because you went and you actually really voted no. Now, the percentage of the people that did vote yes, there will be a level of whack jobs in society that look at that and go, well, you know what? I want women. I reckon it was probably men that voted yes. They went, you know what? Women have had it too easy. Let's show them what the world's really made of. Let's lift this constitutional law that actually protects them, and let's throw them into the man's world where they have no protection, where if you speak up about anything, you're just spat at and shot down. Get on, get up, get on with it, get onto the building site and make me €800 to pay the rent at the end of the month and give me all your money. It was men. It was actually men that voted yes, because they went, do you know what? I'm not woke, but let's throw them in the deep end here to see how they get on. That's what it was. But I guarantee you, the majority of women, even the women that said that we're going to vote yes, went in there and voted no. They just wanted the bragging rights of saying, I voted yes. And that's why there was a counter protest yesterday in Dunleary. It was like a radical feminist protest in Dunleary where they were like protesting against the government upholding democracy, and they had a protest. They had like a gathering. I wish I had went down. I could have asked them a few questions. I would have loved to ask them a few questions. That would have been absolutely phenomenal content. just using their own logic against them. But I'm telling you now, most of the women that were at that protest in Dunleary, most of them women voted no. I would say 90% of those women voted no because they realized they want they women are emotional, but they're very, very logical too. So they would have said, well, hold on. They would have looked into the constitutional law and they would have said, well, hold on, this actually doesn't inhibit us from doing anything. It actually has that's a level of protection. So do you know what? I'm just gonna vote no. But I'm going to tell everybody that I voted yes just to have that bragging right. So most of the radical feminists voted no because they don't really want the constitutional change. They just want the bragging rights that they voted yes. And we live in this big, bad, misogynistic society that inhibits us from doing anything when they're the most protected people in Ireland. Do you know what I mean? So, yeah, that's how I feel about it. Let's go over now and let's read an article about Leo Varadkar's crushing referendum defeat. Oh, he was on the devil's dandruff, all right. Varadkar criticised over gimmicky referendum campaign after crushing defeat. And there's the man, the myth, the legend himself. He's looking very depressed these days. He's probably got a hangover. Critics have rounded on the Irish Taoiseach after the government's crushing defeat in a dual referendum, accusing him of overseeing a lacklustre campaign that was rushed out of a gimmicky desire to make voting coincide with International Women's Day. And that's what it was, guys. You have to understand they had like a whole parade and everything set up, and then they got the no vote. All the feminists voted no because they really didn't want their protection to be lifted. And they wanted, they were like durable relationship. No, there has to be a mummy and daddy here. We can't have 4 daddies and 2 mummies. It doesn't work that way. Politicians and commentators said on Sunday that Leo Varadkar bore serious responsibility for the bungled attempt to change outdated references to family and women in the Irish Constitution. And on a side note, I have to say this too, that I do feel that people voted not just because they didn't want the constitutional change, they actually voted against Varadkar, which is an indication that whenever there's an election, Varadkar's not going to be there. He's seeing this. You have to understand, right, what's going on here. He's seeing that as a direct threat to himself being Taoiseach. So all the people have been taking notes. All the parties have been taking notes from the Greens, Fine Gael, Sinn Féin. These people have been taking notes. You've seen Mary Lou McDonald's response to this. It wasn't that she was gutted. She had genuine worry on her face because the crowd swarmed her and were like, what were you doing in the first place? We're in the middle of a housing crisis, inflation sky high. You need just 3 jobs to buy a carton of milk a week. There's homeless everywhere. You're bringing in droves of fighting fit men while there's a homeless crisis going on. And you're putting this at the top of your priorities to change this constitutional change, this protection for women. And there was genuine worry on her face because she realized, and this is something that people have missed out on, she realized, and Leo Varadkar has realized, and all these woke, anti-family, anti-Irish parties realize that the gig's up, that when it actually comes to voting day, that referendum was a direct mock election because then people will vote to get the Varadkars out. They're not going to be voting for Sinn Féin because the cat's out of the bag. It's different up north here. We've been fighting a lot against the unionists, so to have Sinn Féin in it's like a win to us. But down south, you are a little bit more politically advanced, so you just don't want them anymore, and rightly so. So it's, when it comes up to the elections, you're going to have, I know they don't have much support, but you have Antu, I think that's what you call them, Atu, and the Irish Freedom Party, the Irish Nationalist Party. This is a really good time to have a solid campaign to rise up through the ranks very, very fast and gain heavy political support from the population of Ireland. And there's a genuine chance here that somebody could get in, like an unknown, that's not an unknown, but what way could you put it, like an undesirable from the establishment to come in and just change Ireland for the better. So where yes, it's fantastic that the referendum, it was a no-no and it was basically a landslide, but it was a landslide for a reason. The people, when it comes to the election, those same people aren't going to vote for for the Varadkars, because one, they're going to take into consideration the the constitutional change that they wanted to happen, and two, they're looking around them and they're thinking to themselves, hold on here, you are literally putting foreign nationals above the Irish people. Inflation sky high. These are the things that people will vote for. People want to live in a comfortable society. Ireland's always been okay. But the woke mind virus has actively infiltrated Irish politics. And it seems like all of them in the top five are just completely dismantling the country. So don't see the referendum as just a referendum. See that as an actual election. And when it comes to election day, the same people that say that they love the Varadkars, the same people that say they love the Sinn Féins and they're anti-misogyny and they're for wokeness and they're for refugees are welcome here. Those people want to live in a good society too. They just want the bragging rights to say, well, look, I'm woke and I'm one of Varadkar's men or women. But realistically, when it comes to the voting day, these people will vote against them because they really want to be governed by strong, competent people that know how to run an economic society and have growth. That's the reality of it, and people aren't realizing that. And they're out, guys. That referendum was a mock election, and it just means that they're out. They're out, they're going. And there needs to be a good, solid campaign from the Irish Freedom Party, from the nationalist parties, from anybody coming out now that's saying that they're pro-immigration. You're not going to get the vote. If you're saying that you're pro-alphabet people for the kids to learn whack job radical ideologies in school, you're not going to get the vote, because the majority of Ireland realizes what's happening here, and we're totally 100% against it. And I would go one further. If Ireland had a version of Brexit, I think they would vote to leave Europe, because they know exactly what's happening in Europe now. And as I've said, Europe is like the spider web. You've got the tarantula, the communistic tarantula that's in the center. You've got all their little babies like Varadkar that's dismantling countries at the minute. So, Ireland's going through a bit of a revolution, and rightly so. We can't allow this. So when the elections come, don't be voting for the main parties. Don't be voting for those people, because those people are selling you out. Vote for the Irish Freedom Parties. Vote for the ATUs, or whatever you call them. I forget. I don't know how to actually pronounce that. So forgive me if I get the name wrong. There was Patrick Murphy that was on a panel there the other night, and he was from ATU, and he says that they're anti-immigration. They want to bring the fishing waters back to Ireland and stop selling out to Europe, and they're for economic growth and they're for Ireland. And that's the type of people that we need. The Irish Freedom Parties, them parties, the nationalist parties that are there for the people of Ireland. Right now, you've got complete whack jobs. The inmates are running the prison. The lunatics are running the asylum, and we need to get rid of them. So what I think is, when it actually comes down to it, I think even the people that support the lunatics publicly because they just want the little brownie points, I think they will even vote against them. And that's what that referendum showed. Right, guys, that's the end of the video. Make sure to smash the like button, subscribe, and hit that notification bell, and leave a comment and tell me what you think if you're watching on YouTube. And share too. Fantastic to get all the shares. And if you're watching this on Rumble or X, make sure to give it a heart, give it a rumble, leave a comment. Same logic applies. Share, share, share. And if you want to follow me on the free speech platforms and you're watching this on Rumble or YouTube, make sure you go into the description and you can get the links for my X, my YouTube, my Rumble, and blah, 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 and so on and so on. And thank you to everybody that donates in the Buy Me a Coffee. I appreciate that. You don't need to do that. I'm not here for the money. I just appreciate that I can come on here and speak freely to you and have my opinions and things, whether I'm right or wrong. So, I'm not here for the money, but for the people that do donate in the Buy Me a Coffee link, I appreciate that. And thank you very much. That is the end of the video, guys. Have a fantastic start of the week. Peace out.